Have you ever felt completely drained after a conversation with someone, but couldn't explain why? Like something was off, but you kept blaming yourself? Today, we're going to talk about 8 signs that the problem was never you.
Emotional immaturity is one of the most misunderstood patterns in human psychology. It doesn't always look like tantrums or rage. Sometimes it looks like charm. Sometimes it looks like someone who just needs help. Stay with me, because by sign number 5, you'll recognize someone from your own life. Before we begin, emotional immaturity is not about age. A 50-year-old can be emotionally immature. A 19-year-old can be emotionally wise. It's about the ability to regulate emotions, take responsibility, and show up for others consistently. Let's break down the 8 signs.
Sign number 1. They can never be wrong. No matter what happens, the argument, the mistake, the misunderstanding, it always ends with you apologizing. Emotionally immature people have a deep psychological inability to say, "I was wrong." Because in their inner world, being wrong feels like annihilation. Their ego is too fragile to survive accountability.
Sign number 2. They make everything about themselves. You call them to share exciting news, and within 60 seconds, the conversation is about them. You try to express pain, and somehow they become the real victim. This is called emotional hijacking. It's not malicious. It's a survival mechanism built in childhood, but it leaves everyone around them feeling invisible.
Sign number 3. They can't handle uncomfortable emotions. Sadness, guilt, shame, disappointment. These feelings are unbearable for emotionally immature people, so they avoid them. They change the subject. They use humor at the wrong moment. They get angry instead of sad. They disappear instead of having a hard conversation. Avoidance is their emotional language.
Sign number 4. They expect you to read their mind. They won't tell you what they need, but they'll punish you for not providing it. Silence, cold shoulders, subtle guilt trips. If you really cared, you would have known. This is emotional communication at the level of a young child who hasn't yet learned that other people can't see inside their head. We're halfway through, and I want to ask you something. How many of these signs have you already recognized? 1 person? 2? Maybe yourself in a moment of stress? Keep watching, because signs 5 through 8 are where it gets really personal. Sign number 5. Their moods control the entire room. When they're in a bad mood, everyone walks on eggshells. Conversations stop. Plans change. The emotional weather of the house is set by 1 person. This is called emotional coercion, and it's exhausting to live inside of. People around them spend enormous energy managing that 1 person's emotional state. Sign number 6. They struggle with genuine empathy. They can perform empathy, say the right words, make the right face, but when you need them to truly sit with your pain without making it about them or fixing it immediately, they can't. Real empathy requires emotional regulation, and emotional regulation is exactly what they haven't developed. Sign number 7. They react. They don't respond. There's a difference between reacting and responding. Reacting is immediate, impulsive, emotional. Responding is measured, thoughtful, conscious. Emotionally immature people live in reaction mode. A small criticism becomes a massive fight. A minor inconvenience becomes a crisis. They have almost no pause between stimulus and explosion. Sign number 8. They can't maintain emotional consistency. They can be warm, loving, and present one day, and cold, distant, or cutting the next, with no clear reason, no explanation. This unpredictability is deeply destabilizing for the people who love them, because you never know which version of them is walking through the door.
Now, why does this happen? Emotional immaturity almost always has roots in childhood. A parent who was emotionally unavailable. An environment where vulnerability was punished. A child who learned to survive by shutting down, controlling, or performing. These aren't excuses, but they are explanations. Understanding the root doesn't mean you accept the behavior. It means you stop taking it personally.
Here's what living with an emotionally immature person actually does to you over time. You start shrinking yourself. You stop sharing your real feelings. You become hypervigilant, always scanning for their mood. You apologize for things that aren't your fault. You confuse love with emotional labor. And slowly, quietly, you lose touch with your own emotional needs.
So, what do you do if you recognize someone in your life? First, stop trying to fix them. Emotional maturity cannot be taught through argument or love alone. It requires self-awareness and willingness, which only they can develop. Second, establish clear emotional boundaries. Not walls, boundaries. You decide what behavior you will and won't engage with.
Here's the hopeful part. Emotional immaturity is not a life sentence. People do grow. People do change. When they want to, when they're ready, when something cracks them open enough to look inside. The question is never, can they change? It's, are they willing to? And that answer belongs entirely to them. And before we close, one more thing. We've been talking about other people this whole time, but I want to gently turn the mirror around. Are there moments when you recognize any of these patterns in yourself? Under stress? Under fear? That's not a reason for shame. That's a reason for curiosity. Self-awareness is literally the first step out. Let's quickly recap the 8 signs. 1, they can never be wrong. 2, they make everything about themselves. 3, I want to hear from you. Which of these 8 signs hit closest to home? Drop it in the comments, number 1 through 8. You don't have to share the story, just the number. Let's see what this community recognizes together. If this video helped you see something more clearly, share it with someone who might need it. Not to send a message, just to quietly say, you're not alone in this. And if you want to go deeper into emotional psychology, subscribe, because this is exactly the kind of content we make here.
Thank you for watching. Take care of your emotional world, because it's the most real world you have. See you in the next one.